we're going to make sure that this actually starts before I start talking because it has a tendency to lag and wait, and hopefully we'll start. So, where is your brand leaking? Do you know that it's leaking? Are you aware that it's leaking? How are you fixing those leaks? And as much as I can tell you, I know your brand is leaking. I can see it from here. And it's different than leaving crumb trails and so that people can find you. Your leaky brand is actually just a symptom of what it could potentially really be causing some stress in your business and in your brand. So let's start at the top. Let's talk about the leaks. Let's figure out how to find them, how to fix them, and ultimately, I would love for you to be able to prevent them from happening again. And that comes from addressing the bigger picture, right? That comes from this is what the actual issue is, that's what the actual problem is. So, first of all, your leaky brand. Do you have leaks in your brand? Here's how you can tell. First, are you working with people who excite you? Are you working with people who are excited to pay you to do what you love to do? Or are you working with people in the cheap seats? Are you working with 20 bucks a hardware clients who can't, they love you, they want your stuff, they say that much. I want to be in your space, I want everything about you, I would love your program, I just can't quite afford it. That is not, this is not a character flaw. This is not, there's no judgment here. They may just not be your ideal clients yet, but this isn't going to be about them. This is about you. What are you saying? What are you doing in your brand, in your messaging, in your marketing that is attracting the people that are not your ideal clients? If you are working with 100% of the people who excite you, who love you, who all the things are amazing and awesome, then that's not where your leak is. But if you're working with people who, and it's not just about it being able to afford you, although that's part of what makes them ideal is that they are ready to pay you. They are excited to pay you. They have the funds. This is not taking money off their food off their table. They're just ready to invest in their business. That's definitely a part of being an ideal client. Do they understand that you get to work inside your zone of genius? Do they say, could you just? Could I just have 10 times what you promised and could I have it yesterday instead? All those things go into play. If that's what your schedule is full of, if that is the type of person that you are allowing to take up your oh so precious, non-replaceable one-on-one time, that's a brand leak, straight up. And I know you have some of those leaks because I've heard the stories, I've heard the conversations, but ultimately the easiest way for you to go check is go look at your schedule. Go look at your calendar for the next week, for the next 30 days. Who's on there? Who are you allowing to take that time? That's a brand leak area. The second one is, are you doing what you love? Are you absolutely joyous every single day because you get up and you say, I get to do this. Look what I get to do. I'm so excited. I get to do A, B, and C. And really, I get to spend 80% of my time on A. And I realize there's going to be parts of your business where you're like, I don't like doing this, these little things. They're small little tasks. Sometimes you can outsource them. Sometimes you just have to muddle through them. But ultimately, is your day spent doing what you love to do, working with those people that you adore? If you are not doing what you are born to do, if you are not doing what you are called to do, if you are not working inside of your zone of genius, not just a majority, but almost all of the time, that's a brand leak for you. And again, I can see it from here. I know there are people out there you are doing right now, you are doing things that pay the bills and not what you love. And I get it. This was true before the pandemic. This was true before we all were hunkering down and pivoting like crazy. The more time you can spend inside your zone of genius, the more money there is. The more fulfilled you will be, the more likely it is you want to do it with all of your gusto. You get to do your best work inside your zone of genius. So if you are not creating a business, if your brand is not calling in the people and allowing you to do those things, it's a leak. The third place I want to really hone in on is, are you getting the results you want? You said you wanted to make a pile of money. Are you? You said you wanted to be able to work 12 hours a week. Are you? You said you want to be able to take all the vacations you wanted. Now, granted, we may be staying at home vacationing right now, but are you? Are you creating the business you said you wanted to? Are you speaking on all the stages, virtual or otherwise, that you said you wanted to? Are you getting the results that you said you wanted? If you created a marketing plan that said, we're going to be doing these things because here's the results, if that path is not getting you the results, there's a leak in there somewhere, and it's almost guaranteed it's branding. Because a brand is everything you say and everything you do to create that relationship and create an experience that makes you unforgettable to your ideal client. So if you're not getting the results you want, you have a brand leak. So those are the three ways you can see if your brand is leaking someplace. But I will tell you right now how to adjust that and not just put a band-aid over it. It's not just about sticking your finger in the hole and hoping the water doesn't keep coming back in. This is a way to actually adjust your business and create a brand that doesn't allow for those holes to come in, because you are that confident, you are that secure, you are that authentic in your brand that this just doesn't happen. This is not something that is a part of your world anymore. You've heard the phrase, I am sure, especially as an entrepreneur, especially if you are a woman, you've heard the phrase life balance. If you have heard me speak at any event, and if you've hung out with me long enough, you've probably heard my diatribe on life balance and how it's a myth and how it's a crock. It's right up there with perfection. Here's the thing I know about life balance. It's not about actually balancing all the plates and keeping everything going and doing all the things you said. It's about prioritization. So it's not about I can only have one thing. It's about what's the most important, what's my priority first. And this comes back down to your commitment. How committed are you really? How committed are you to only working with clients that excite you? How committed are you to only working inside of your zone of genius? How committed are you to the results you said you wanted? It's May. How many of us decided we were going to lose 20 pounds this year? Lose, release, let go of, whatever. How many of us said that this was the year we're going to get in shape? This was the year that we are going to let all those extra pounds go somewhere else and we were going to be our best, fittest, slimmest, healthiest self ever. And how many of us are doing it? I will share. A few years ago, I decided enough was enough. I had a small child. I needed to be healthy. And yes, part of that was weight release, and part of that was just general health. And I got super committed. I changed my lifestyle. I changed my eating habits. I changed my sleeping habits. I changed some of the people I hung out with. I changed my buying habits. I recruited a team to help me. I got my husband to come and help me as well. And 85 pounds later, yay, there we are. It worked. It took time. It took an actual commitment. It took change, because whatever I've been doing up to that point had created what I had. And I couldn't do it alone. And I couldn't do it sometimes and halfway, and only if it was really convenient. So now I'm here going, oh, I could be happier about 20 pounds down. I could, I can hang out there more comfortably. Everything fits better. I'm a little healthier. I breathe easier. I run better, all those things. But my commitment thus far is lacking. And yes, there are reasons, there are excuses, and some of them are valid and some of them are non. But if I know that if I commit to it, really commit, it'll happen because I've done it before. So I ask you now, what are you committed to really? Whether that's building a healthier relationship with yourself, with someone else, if that's building a better business, if that's taking more time for self-care, whatever that is you decided was important to you, that you said, talky, words, right? What are you actually committed to? There's a really great phrase that I learned probably 25, 30 years ago from a friend. If you want to see what you're committed to, check your results. So I can look on the scales and go, yep, I'm committed to that. I can tell exactly where my commitment lies. My business is doing really well. My weight's hanging out ever so the same. So what are you committed to for reals? What level of commitment are you making to your business? What level of commitment are you making to you? Because ultimately, especially on this portion of your brand, this is all about you. I've told you this before. When you are building your business, when you are creating this, you get to decide These are your boundaries. These are your setup. This is your plan. These are your sacrifices. These are your challenges. This is your ability to prioritize and commit. It's something we get to talk about in the league this week, and I'm super excited about it. But I just want to challenge you for just a second. If you look at it this way, maybe, if you're not quite sure where your priority level is, if you're not quite sure where your commitment boundary is, if I were to say, if you were to tell me, Amber, I want to make six figures this year, awesome. What are you going to do to get there? Because if you're making less than six figures now, you can assume that whatever it is you've been doing can get you here, which means you have to do something else, something different, something new, something changed to get you here. Yes? I mean, that's math. Again, this is branding math, so it shouldn't be too hard. I can understand it. The team you have here, can that same team get you where you want to go? Maybe they can. Maybe it's just tweaking. Maybe it's allowing them to work more in their zone of genius. Maybe it's giving and delegating a little bit more, allowing them a little bit more authority over what they're doing so that you can really stay in your zone of genius and move the whole team forward. You want to see what you're committed to, check your results. Are you making the money you said you wanted to? And again, I know there's always something. If it's not a pandemic, I mean, granted, that's a hell of a thing. If it's not that, it's something else, right? It's, I have too much else to do. I really want to get this other thing done first. It's, I have this family thing. I'm sick. My kid's sick. I'm trying to think of all the ones I've used this year. There's always a reason to not make it happen. But if you're truly committed, you find a way. I remember in high school, a friend of my parents were like, we just can't figure out, we can't ever figure out where the money goes. We never have any money. And these people were making $500,000 a year. And this is, 40 years ago. And I remember thinking even then, that's a lot of money. Where the heck did you put it? And it's not about I don't have money. It's about the priorities are different. They had what was important to them. It was fine. So I ask you, if you really want to make, what are you prioritizing? What are you committed to versus what you say you're committed to? And again, there's always going to be something. Figure out a plan. Figure out a way. This is part of those legend response systems. You know something's going to hit the fan. You know something's going to go sideways. And your perfect plan to get you to six figures, your perfect plan to get you to seven figures is going to get disrupted. Do you have a plan in place? Do you have a brand in place that even if it's disrupted, it's a small blip? It's not a complete detour. Do you have that system in place? Do you have the team in place to keep you that way? Part of being committed is not just being committed to yourself, it's being committed to your team and allowing your team to be committed to you. So take a minute and yes, absolutely go and look at your brand leaks because they are symptomatic of a larger concern. If you are allowing your schedule to be filled up with people who are $20 the hard way, why? Is it fear? I'm going to guess it is of something because we all have those. Confidence? I have to take this client, Amber, because I don't think I can get the big one or I haven't got it yet. So I'm going to take all these little guys and take these smaller packages. I'm going to offer the smaller things because I really wanted this big one, but I'm not there yet. I get it. But that, again, that's really crappy fear math. That's not even branding math. That's fear math. If you're doing all the things that make you miserable, that pay the bills, why aren't you doing the things that you love? Why haven't you figured that out? Is it because you don't know how? Is it because you're afraid? Is it because you don't have the next right steps? Is it because you don't have the right team in place? All those brand leaks that are making it so that your results aren't what you wanted are symptomatic of a larger concern. They go back to your commitment. There's no wrong answer here. It's your business. You get to decide. You get to choose. But if you say you're committed, be sure you understand what that actually means. For you, for you. Your commitment level has to work for you. No coach can coach you out of that. No workshop can workshop you out of that. Because ultimately, I mean, even a personal trainer calling you once a day, texting you once a week, no matter what program you have signed up for, they can't coach you into better commitments. They can't guilt you into more permanent, fulfilling, lasting, sustainable commitments. You can commit for a while. You have a really good couple of weeks. But ultimately, if it's not your commitment, if you're not in it, if you're not 100%, it's not going to happen. So you just get to decide, where are you really? Where are you committed and to what? What results do you actually want and what are you willing to do to get there? Check your brand leaks, take a deep breath, cut yourself some slack, and then acknowledge and decide what you really want, what you really want to create this year, how you want to create it, and how soon you want to create it. I would love to see what you're committed to. I know I've got friends who are taking afternoons off to go to the ball games. That is so cool. I don't have a ball kid yet. I don't have ball games to go to. That's not where my commitment is. It's where theirs is, and it's bringing them a ton of joy. I'm so excited for them. What are you committed to? What are you doing right now? When you have a free hour, when you create a free hour for yourself, where do you spend it? When you have an extra $100, extra $1,000, where are you spending it? When you have extra energy, what are you doing with it? These are all really good questions to ask you because it all affects your brand. It all affects the experience you're creating for your ideal client. It all affects your profits. It affects your joy levels. It affects your business. So check your schedule, see where your leaks are. I would love to hear back. Go ahead and drop the comments in, or you know how to reach me. You can reach out and say, well, oh my gosh, I don't know what it is, but it's off. Let's have a conversation. Until I see you in person, stay committed to what you said you were committed to. Rock on.